So, hey builders, so a question that has often come up on the forums is how do I cut my aluminum dome panels out? And now that we've seen a lot more people starting to buy the aluminum domes again, I thought I would throw together a quick little video on how I did mine. This may not be the best way, but it's the way I determined was best for my abilities and my skills at the time when I did it. So the tools you're going to need are just a hacksaw blade, some duct tape, and that's it. That's all I use for mine. I know a lot of people have used a tool similar to this, but the problem that I see with these is if you get in a hurry and you get these in a bind, you'll actually snap the blade off just like this one is. And usually you can put the blade in and it sticks out around that far, but you have to be really careful to not put these in a bind because these are hardened steel and they actually will snap. And then once that happens, you have the chance of just actually driving this into your dome and scratching your beautiful work. So one thing you want to consider before starting to cut the panels out is if you want to polish the dome or you want to put the machine striations in, you want to do all of that to your outside dome before you cut the panels out. Because if you don't, you're going to have a hard time because all the holes are going to be there from where you cut the panels out, and then you can't get a really smooth finish on what you're trying to do to achieve the texture that you want for your dome. You will have to also do that for the outer dome, the inner dome. You'll want to polish where the magic panel is, and then also from where this panel will be at, because this section will be open on your dome. All right, so we'll go into what I do to cut the panels out. So this is the outer dome again. So I take and offset my tape on there so that I've got more surface on one particular side, and this is the side I'll use for my cutting. And then you're just putting the electrical tape on there just to keep from tearing your hand up while using the saw. So you'll go in and just be really careful whenever you're inserting into the dome. And then once you get it in, just take one stroke, and I push inward because it's easier to do for me, and then you don't have the chance of pulling the blade out too far. Another thing is that you want to make sure the tilt is away from the surface that you're going to be that's going to be to the outside. So you can see I'm pushing down at this angle instead of pushing at this angle, because once you break through that tab, if you break through and you're pointed at this angle, you're going to scratch your dome. So if you're at this angle here and you keep pushing in like that, just nice short strokes, you don't have to go in and out. And then you can see that one broke through, and I didn't scratch the outside because I had the angle where it would scratch the inside of the dome instead of scratching the outside. I don't recommend using power tools at all to do this step. You could on the inner dome if you're really careful, just because there's so much more surface to cut. But if you decide to not do that, then what you can do is just take a piece of tape or take a straight edge and then run it from opening to opening. And you can do it in the center on these, and then you could put a pin mark there if you wanted to, and then pull the tape back off. I wouldn't do it with the tape on there, but just put a Sharpie mark there and just cut along that Sharpie mark until you get that cut through. And then once you do that, pull it back off, put another Sharpie mark where it's just going to line the two up, and then use a file to file that out. So once you get all four of these cut out, or all the tabs, like this one only has 3, but you get your tabs cut out. Another thing to worry about too is to be really careful. Now that these 2 tabs are loose, you can actually push this inward, and if you do that, you have a chance of bending this area here on your actual outside part of your dome. So be really careful about putting any pressure in on that particular spot, because if you do push in, it'll twist that metal. You may think it'll be easier just to break those out, but if you do, you'll end up taking a chance of warping your dome in that section. And then if you've already finished the outside, you've messed up all your work. And then once you get that done, then you take a file, go in and actually file all of those little tabs out so that they end up just being a nice smooth surface, and then do the same to your outer dome panels and get the extra part of the tab that the saw leaves taken off. And then that should complete everything for your outer dome. So if I've left anything out or you have any other questions, just put a comment below. Thanks. Happy building.